So, of course, over the last year, you even though you're unemployed, you wanted to stay busy. So you wrote a book. It's called Levi's Unbuttoned. And tell us about that book. Go ahead and stream that, Yada.
Yeah, it does, cover the last very fraught 2 years of my time at Levi's, but that doesn't really come until the second half. So, it's really a memoir. And it's kind of about my own journey to kind of being confident enough in my own voice and my own perception of reality to use my voice as forcefully as possible to stand up for what I believe in. So, some of my journey in gymnastics, because here's the thing. I grew up in an environment that demanded total silence and obedience from children. This has been a journey for me. It is not easy for me. I'm not combative by nature. I don't like being hated. I like to be liked. This is the opposite. My husband will fight with anyone about anything. He doesn't care. He's, we just are different. So it's really hard for me to screw up my courage and fight for truth. But I do it because it matters too much. So, it kind of goes through that whole journey because I feel like if I can do it, this kid who grew up in this like insanely abusive, obedience instilling environment, then anyone can do it. So it's hopefully a bit of a exhortation to people to stand up just a little bit every day in their own lives. It's scary, but you can do it. And we need you. We need all of us.
Well, I'm excited to read it. I am going to get myself a copy. And writing a book wasn't enough for you. You had to do a production. You had to make a production company, and you're in the process of making a movie. And it's called, I love the name, Say Everything Productions. With your name SEY. Only a marketing genius like yourself could think of something so appropriate. So tell us about your production company, and when do you expect this movie to be out?
Yeah, I think I went and set up the production company literally like the day after I quit. I mean, I knew I wanted to make this film. I produced a documentary that came out in 2020 called Athlete A, which is about the abuse in the sport of gymnastics, and it won an Emmy in 2020 for Best Investigative Documentary. So I sort of had this brewing in my mind. As soon as I resigned, I went and set up the production company. I probably should have taken a day or two off, but I didn't, and got going. And I can't claim, I don't think I made the name up. I think it was like a collaboration between a friend of mine and my husband that came up with Say Everything. But we've been filming for a year. We've filmed most of it, and it really is about the impact to children of all ages across geographies in the United States from the prolonged school closures and other restrictions. And, from the most extreme and catastrophic to the more mundane, children across the board have been impacted. Absenteeism is at all-time high, dropout rates, mental health, learning loss. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Really no child was spared. Some are coming out of it better than others, but for some there's lifelong consequences. And that's what I hope to get people to understand and invite them into, because as you both well know, there was this like story being told, oh, it's just 2 weeks, they're resilient, it's just 2 months. But, for a kid who dropped out, this is lifelong. This has changed and altered the trajectory of his life. For a young woman or a teenage girl who ended up in a mental hospital for 6 months, this has changed the trajectory of her life. So, we want to tell their stories because I don't want people to forget, and I want some accountability.
And so when do you think the movie will be back? Any idea when the movie will be out?
Well, documentaries take a while. We're almost done filming. My hope is the end of the year, but it could be early next year.